Hey, good morning, folks. I haven't been live in a while. In fact, I haven't even posted much recently, but because I've been super busy. We've all been super busy, right? With the holidays and then everything else going on. But anyway, so I see a lot of people on TikTok doing these card readings, going live and doing card readings, and that's not really, I don't normally do card readings live for other people. I have been doing card readings for over 20 years, and I've been working with the same deck the whole time, and it's Morgan's Tarot. If you're into tarot cards at all, you may or may not be familiar with Morgan's Tarot. Um, I don't do them all the time, but one thing I am pretty consistent about is I usually do a card reading at the beginning of each year. And I'm a very spiritual person, and I also believe in science. And in fact, the more that I learn about science, the more my spiritual beliefs are reinforced. They don't cancel each other out. If you are a religious person or a spiritual person and you struggle with the concept of science canceling out religion somehow, I'd really love to hear from you guys and see what it is that is challenging for you. Because honestly, for me, the more I learn through science, the more I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. It just reinforces how miraculous life is to me. I mean, it just makes me believe even more the way that I do. Um, a lot of people that are religious maybe don't feel comfortable with tarot cards because they see them as like witchy woo woo or whatever. And um, so since I do a card reading once a year, just as a forecast for the year, I wanted to start by sharing with you guys why I actually use cards and why I believe in them science wise. And you know, that might be something that people kind of have a hard time grasping, but I am a spiritualist. I'm an artist. I look at things in the abstract. I am very analytical. I look at details. Details are really important to me. And there's a lot of psychology behind why tarot cards actually work. And that ties into the science part of it, right? Psychology is a science of the way our minds work. And the more that we better understand psychology, the better we understand the way our minds work, and it kind of lets go a little bit of the guilt that you might have when you have a reaction, an emotional reaction to something. Well, if you understand that that is a normal psychological reaction, you can not get hung up on the reaction and take a step back and take a deep breath and go, okay, so it's normal for me to be upset about this. Let's see why it's upsetting. And then you can like dive into it, break it down and process it. So that it's not as upsetting next time, maybe, right? Um, so I, and yes, I have been in and out of counseling for a very, very long time. I started counseling for the first time when I was just barely 7 years old. And if you've ever read my books, then you know about this. If you haven't read my books, I this is a little pitch here. I am an author. I am transgender, and I have written fictionalized memoirs. I've written book 1 and book 2 of a series. I'm not done writing it. I have published book 1 and book 2. I'm in the process of writing book 3. And if you're interested in understanding the way gender dysphoria can affect you, how counseling can have a positive or negative effect on that, you know, I hope that you'll seek out my book. You can find it Barnes & Noble online. Amazon does have it, although I encourage people to go to Barnes & Noble because it's an actual bookstore, and I'd like to support bookstores. You can probably find it just about on any online bookseller. The name of the first book is Aimless. Um, Aimless Memoirs of a Life in Transition. The second book is Shadows of Fire, Memoirs of a Life in Transition. Both, once again, my name is Charles Firecat Burnell, and if you Google Charles Firecat Burnell and books, you should be able to find them. Anyway, so I do ramble. My brain is a little off, and that's okay. I like me the way I am. So, but you can get lost sometimes. So anyway, going back to the annual card reading, right? So I have this book that I bought at, oh God, I think it was Shakespeare Books on Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley, California, maybe 20 years ago. It is called The Tarot Revealed. I have since taped it up several times because it's fallen apart. And it is a basic generic explanation of, it has a generic explanation of each of the major and minor arcana cards that you typically find in a standard tarot deck. My tarot deck is not a standard tarot deck. So these interpretations don't do me any good with my deck. However, for those who like to experiment and do things with standard playing cards, it explains the conversion on which standard playing card corresponds with a major or minor arcana. Well, no, they're just the minor arcana cards. But you can, it gives you basically a guide on how to use standard playing cards to do card readings as well. So that's kind of interesting. And sometimes when I do have a second deck that does have major and minor arcana cards, and occasionally I'll do an overlapping reading with those cards, and so this book is helpful then. But honestly, the thing that I like most about this book is that it explains the psychological science behind how and why tarot cards actually work and what they're actually doing. They're not telling you the future. They're not telling you the past. They're not explaining something that you don't already know. They're helping to trigger the information in your brain that you already have. And so when each person reads cards, they're tapping into information they already have. If somebody has extrasensory perceptions where they can empathically tap into the energy that somebody else is feeling, they can then kind of use that as a filter when they're reading the cards, and that's how someone will read the cards for someone else. And then that gets into a whole nother issue of science and spirituality, which I could go off on right now, but energies and stuff, there's science behind that too, and maybe I'll talk about that another time. I have some pretty strong beliefs about that too. We have a lot more senses than the five senses we're typically taught. And anyway, so that we're using more than just the standard five senses when you're reading cards. So I want to read to you this introduction that explains the history behind tarot cards before I do a reading. And like I said, my card deck is Morgan's Tarot. It is not your standard major and minor arcana. And it works a lot better for me because I'm not your standard person. But I really like this explanation in this book. So I'm going to share it with you guys in case you're into cards or you're suspicious of cards and you don't really trust them, or you think it's just a bunch of BS or whatever. You may find this interesting. So the tarot pack consists, and mind you, this is based on the major and minor arcana, the standard tarot deck. The tarot pack consists of 78 cards, 56 in 4 suits, the forerunners of modern playing cards, called the minor arcana, and in additional to 22 picture cards known as the major arcana. The major arcana are said to be derived from the pages of the oldest books in the world, originated by Hermes I'm pronouncing this wrong, I'm sure. Trismegistus. Trismegistus. I I'm I apologize. I don't know how to say the word. He was the counselor of Osiris, king of Egypt, at a period when hieroglyphic writing, magic, astrology, and other mystic sciences flourished. Some scholars maintain that they were invented by the Chinese. Others say that they were brought from India by the Gypsies. They are also frequently related to Kabbalistic lore of the Hebrews, and a correspondence is often pointed out between the cards and the major arcana and the letters of the Hebrew alphabet. Although the earliest known date, 1390 AD, is attributed to a tarot pack displayed in a European museum, it is almost certain that the history of the cards goes back even further into the shrouded mists of antiquity. One interesting story of their origin is that after Alexandria was destroyed, the city of Fez became the intellectual capital of the world, to which wise men traveled from far and wide. In order to communicate more easily, for they spoke in many tongues, they set about creating a universal language, which they embodied in a book of pictures abounding in mystic symbols. A key to the interpretation of these universal symbols and their infinite combinations, it is said, enabled the sages to understand one another and to create a common store of wisdom. It is these pictures which are supposed to have come down to us in the form of the cards of the major arcana. All of these accounts of the tarot's origin add depth and interest to the cards, and none of them can be denied. A profound study of the tarot does reveal much of the ancient Hebrew wisdom of the Kabbalah. Many of the symbols are indeed linked with Egyptian mythology, and the Gypsies are widely considered to have possessed, from time immemorial, an uncanny gift for reading the past, the present, and the future by means of the tarot pack. It is entirely understandable that in addition to the great body of authentic lore that has grown up around these remarkable cards, there is also a certain amount of myth, superstition, and pure speculation about them. And, like a living language, they have undergone constant growth and change, as the messages contained in them were handed down through one group of initiates to another. Many legends and mysteries were added to them. But underneath all the legends and the theories, it seems that some sort of indestructible, irreducible wisdom remains to reward and inspire the student, and sages and prophets throughout human history have uncovered in them secrets of universal meaning for man. In recent times, too, many scholars and philosophers have been influenced by or found inspiration in this oldest book known to man. Creative writers and psychologists have regarded the symbols and images of the tarot with profound respect for the connection with the subconscious activities of the human mind. And this is where the science comes in. I'm going to skip here. We talk about Yeats and Grisham. Albert Pike's Moral and the Dogma of Scottish Rites. All these different places that... Okay, let's see here. Thomas Troward, one of the founders of New Thought and one of the clearest exponents of the science of mind, has devoted serious thought to the spiritual significance of these extraordinary pictures. Thus, it can be seen that the tarot has affected the thinking of man in many cultures and many ages. An understanding of their symbolic meaning gives us a unique opportunity to master a significant part of occult wisdom. Symbols are the picture forms of inner thought. They have rightly been called the doors leading to the hidden chambers of the mind, and the study of them can be a fascinating pursuit in itself, conducive to contemplation and meditation. Most of us are interested in divination, and a major part of the books of the tarot, including this one, is devoted to how one may read the cards in terms of actual problems of living people. When the cards are laid out for reading, the way in which they fall and the relation of one card to the other reveal to the trained reader answers to some of the most important concerns of life. They give us a method for interpreting character and throwing light on the future. They analyze the mind and spirit, often revealing unconscious motivations, hidden fears, and anxieties that may be operating to hamper one's progress. Many clues that arise from the subconscious mind can be glimpsed in the reading. And that's the key right there. So you're tapping into your subconscious mind when you use the cards, when you read the cards, and you look at the interpretations. The interpretations aren't what's telling you. They're not the message. They make you think. And it's what you think about that is the message that you really need to get. You're tapping into your own subconscious mind. I am reading a book called The Tarot Revealed by Eden Gray. And just the very front of it, I'm not going to read all the interpretations of the cards, but I'm reading the introduction because I really like how it talks about the history of card reading. And I figured it was a good introduction before I do my annual card reading. So if that answers your question, if you're still there, Kimberly, thank you for asking me a question. Okay, where was I? So many clues that arise from the subconscious mind can be glimpsed in the reading. If one is functioning on two material plane, the signs will be in the cards. If on a spiritual plane, this will manifest too. Oh, no problem. No problem, Kimberly. There are indeed measures here for those seeking wisdom and guidance. Out of some unknown power in the cards comes revelation after revelation, and we learn from the tarot some of the things that we need to know to better order our lives. However, I have to go back to this. You're tapping into something in your own brain. If you're a very, very spiritual person and you feel like you have a really strong connection to your higher power, to the higher power, however what words work best for you, then you very well may be tapping into something much deeper and higher than your own subconscious. However, if you believe in the school of thought of the collective unconscious, and this is a Jungian theory, that we all have, there's a collective unconscious that we tap into. If you believe in that school of thought, which I do, then it is possible that if you are open and attuned enough that when you read the cards, you could be tapping into something deeper. You could be pulling things from the collective unconscious. And, well, thank you. And so I'm not trying to suggest that other people that read cards on a regular basis are phony. I'm not saying that at all. Each person is different, and I have no way of knowing how tapped into the collective unconscious that person reading cards may be. So there is that metaphysical aspect to it. However, again, these instances and people that do that sort of thing don't make me believe in my personal beliefs any less, because I'm a universalist, and I believe that we all have our own path to reaching enlightenment. We all have our own way, and whether you're an atheist or a Buddhist or a Jew or a Muslim or anything else, Church of Satan, I don't care. I'm not going to judge you for that, because you have your own way of connecting with your higher power, and I respect that. So going back to the cards, for me, I don't know whether I'm tapping into the collective unconscious when I read them, or whether I'm just tapping into myself. I don't really question that. That's kind of part of faith, at least for me. If they give me a clear message, I trust it, period. That doesn't mean you have to, but anyway, I ramble. I'm going to go back to reading some of this first, because it's so interesting. Here I should like to refer to the many systems of thought that have been superimposed on the tarot and at various times in history in the attempt to penetrate its meaning. The cards have been explained by philosophies and techniques based on Rosicrucian thinking, numerology, astrology, the signs of the zodiac, the Hebrew alphabet, color symbolism, and others. Whether one or another of these systems were used, the cards in their infinite combinations seem to retain their powers of revelation. So, you know, when you're looking at the cards, maybe not everything on the picture is what triggers, but all it takes is one symbol on the card to trigger the thought process. So anyway, I've rambled a bit, so now I'm going to get set up to do my readings. This is my bag that I carry my cards in. I like this little bag. I got it at a Ren fair a while back because I always find the best leather work at Renaissance fairs. And I keep my cards wrapped up in this little handkerchief. This handkerchief is important to me. I didn't always keep the cards wrapped in this handkerchief, but this handkerchief is especially important to me because I got it when I went to my aunt's funeral several years ago. Everybody in the party, we each got one of these little handkerchiefs. It was just a thing. And my Aunt Star was really important to me. She was only 50 years old when she died. She had a heart attack while she was driving her brand new convertible Mustang that her husband bought for her after working the storms at Katrina. And he made enough money to buy her the car she had always wanted, brand new convertible Mustang. She was really happy, and then she had a heart attack while she was driving and wrecked the car. The car wreck was not what killed her, it was the heart attack. Anyway, I love my Aunt Star wherever she is, and I keep my cards wrapped up in the handkerchief that I got at her funeral. So, I also carry in my bag with my cards this beautiful quartz crystal. I honestly don't even remember where I got it, but I've had it for a long time, and so I keep it with me because if you are into crystals and stuff, I like the clarity it brings and grounding. I have no earth in my chart at all. I am all fire, air, and water, and so I can use all the extra grounding I can get. So that's one of the reasons why I really like rocks and crystals, because they help me ground. So the deck that I work with is called, again, Morgan's Tarot. And if you're not familiar with Morgan's Tarot, one of the things I like about it is the back. It says, "Love is God." I really like that. I'm going to show it to you again. Love is God. Isn't that beautiful? You're an earthy Virgo. I am a fiery Cancer. Okay, so Morgan's Tarot was created in the 70s by a bunch of hippies that decided they were going to do it. It is a beautiful card, isn't it? I really like them. I have long since lost the book that had the things that the card explanations on it. I've printed it out from the internet since then. And even though I've been working with these cards for a really long time and can do a reading without the explanations, I really like the way the creators of this deck wrote their explanations. And when I get to the reading the cards explanations, you'll see why. Their brain works sort of like mine. It's very abstract, and they talk in metaphors and parables. They really don't give you a lot of direct stuff, and I like that, because when, in my opinion, when you're reading cards and the card interpretation says you're going to meet a dark-haired man that is going to, you know, to me, that's too specific, and it doesn't leave enough room for your own brain to... I mean, you go searching in your brain for who do I know with dark hair, and then you pin on that person an expectation that something is going to happen. And I don't really think that that's a great way to use the cards. It's too external, and the cards are meant to give you internal insight. But when I do the annual card reading, it's more like a forecast. If you're familiar with the concept of posturing, like when you get ready for work and you do your hair a certain way, or you put on certain clothes, or maybe you wear makeup or whatever, part of it is about putting yourself in a headspace like, I am now going to play this role. It's posturing. You put yourself in the proper posture to accomplish what it is that you are trying to accomplish. And the mental posturing, the preparation to get yourself in that headspace, is, it's part of that. Posturing is part of preparing yourself for something, right, that you're going to be doing. And so anyway, when I do the annual card reading, it kind of helps me to prepare, like, how do I need to posture myself for potential obstacles that I might have to face over the course of the year. And so it's not a prediction as much as a preparation. And I have done card readings for other people, but again, I don't typically do that. This is just a general, not specifically for me, but just forecasting of, what is the world going to present to us this coming year? And if you're like me and you feel like we're still in 2019, then that's a really damn good question. Excuse my language. It's a darn good question, right? Okay, so now, when I draw cards, I do not just pull off the top. I actually fan them out, and I'm going to turn this so you can see. I fan them out, can you see? And I move my hand over until I feel a twinge in my finger over a card. So, I'm turning this back around so you can actually see me. So, what I'm doing here, when I fan out the cards, is thank you, it is a beautiful deck, thank you. I fan out the cards and I close my eyes, so if it looks a little silly, that way the only stimulation that I am getting is from the space between my hand and the card, okay? And there's air, right? And there's air in between, but you can feel heat or cool. And I don't think it's the cards sending anything to me. I've got my eyes open because I'm looking at you, but it's not the cards sending something to me, but we radiate. Human beings radiate heat. And when I feel it bounce back on my hand in a slightly different way, and I'm feeling for differences, for just the slightest twinge. And when I feel that twinge, I reach down and I pull the card. Okay, there's one. And, I don't know if people take the time to explain. Do I feel the energy in the cards and my own energy? Well, see, that's the thing. I'm not sure. And I don't try to figure it out, really. I just know that there's, like, I move my hands over, and when I feel a twinge, it's almost like this tiny, minute electrical impulse. Physiologically speaking. It could be the energy in the cards. It could be something in a particular card that I'm drawn to, that's what I'm supposed to be getting. But I feel for a difference in the twinge is the best way to describe it. I don't know. Like, if I just pulled from the very top of the deck, then I don't know that I would get the same kind of reading. I could probably still get something from it. And I could pull any card of this out of this deck and get something from it. But for this, let's see, we've got 5. Here we go. That's the way you read also. Cool. 6. Oh, that one's really warm. 7. Let me switch hands. I am right-handed, but to some extent I'm ambidextrous, and you know, one hand is the sending hand and one hand is the receiving hand, and the senses aren't always the same, but they're both important. Well, I pulled 2 cards there. Okay, how many do we have so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We need 3 more cards. 12 cards is for a full year. Sometimes I'll do short readings. Yeah, sometimes it's cool with warm. Exactly. It's a difference though. You feel a difference, right? Okay. And one more. It's like the muscles in my body are reacting to something that I can't see. I really believe we have a whole lot more than 5 senses. And some people, you know, more so than others, but... All right, so let's start here with the cards we pulled. So, this cracks me up. Okay, I'm putting this, setting this up, and then I'm gonna show you guys. And I don't know why I got so many more this time, but I don't know, I just said pulled 12 cards. I didn't need to, but I did. Okay, so can I flip this around while I'm live? Is that what that button does? No. Okay, well, I'm just gonna show you guys. These are, and then this is the reading. And I'm gonna hold up each card separately. So, the heart of the matter. The door to the Akashic records. Isn't that a lovely card? The heart of the matter is the door to the Akashic records. Opposing forces are love. The root is there are no mistakes. The connection to the higher power is Baba. Recent past is does consciousness ring a bell? Hopes and fears is heavy. And I won't go through the potential obstacles until after we've read the initial set of cards. So, let's go to the first card, and this is where I get out I have I have it all. Why did I staple it together? Oh, because I was traveling and I wanted something that was really easy to access. I'm gonna take out the staple. But I had printed this out. I actually have this all saved on my old phone, and I would just scroll through it, and I liked it because I could do a Control F to search for the specific word, and it took less time. But I just don't like I like paper. I know it's bad, but I like it. So I'm looking for the door to the Akashic Records. There's Baba. Here we go. I love the way they write these. So, the heart of the matter for this forecast is called The Door to the Akashic Records. I'm going to show it to you again, just in case you popped in. The Door to the Akashic Records is the heart of the matter. The Akashic Records contain the entire cosmic drama in all its dimensions, including the future and the past. The records are available to the psyche of the reader, and various portions of them can be tapped. For further information, please consult the head librarian located somewhere in the main library. Of course, it's a metaphor. This card, to me, usually indicates the collective unconscious and the collective learning, everything, the compendium of everything that has led me or you or whomever that we're talking about to this very moment. And whether or not you remember it all in the present, in the conscious, it is all there. And if you are paying attention, if you're attuned to your surroundings, if you are attuned to very connected to your higher power, or you have strong sensory perception, you may be picking up on other people's compendiums as well. So the door to the Akashic Records, in the most condensed form, is the door to the collective unconscious. And that is the heart of the matter for this reading. So, this should be interesting. Opposing forces. Love. I like the card. Now, why would love be an opposing force? I can think of a lot of situations where people have acted, quote unquote, out of love and been an opposing force. The spirit of this card in a reading is determined by the context of the situation. I shall refrain from making any further comments except true love is unconditional and unlimited. So how could love be an opposing force to universal understanding? Well, let's keep reading. The roots. This is the history from whence you came, your roots, your history. And the card that I pulled was, there are no mistakes. I like this card a lot too. Where can it be? There are no mistakes. Let's see here. Sorry, it's taking me a second. I do wear trifocals, and my eyesight is not great. And oh, it was on the very back. There are no mistakes. I'm going to show you the card one more time. There are no mistakes. Notice how it's spelled? Thank you. The ancient Chinese said this to each other before business negotiations. Whatever happens on the relative plane, the cosmos as a whole makes no errors. The uncreated, unborn, and unmade always provide new alternatives. There is no possibility of ever straying from the path, whatever its turns may be. That is not a license to do anything, but an assertion that the ego, or the illusion of ego, tends to create problems. Okay, so now love opposing the door to the Akashic Records is making a little bit more sense. But I'm going to keep going. The next card in the reading is in the position of your connection to the higher power, and we have Baba. I like this card. This is a good card. And it doesn't surprise me that it comes up in this position for me specifically, but I will talk on that a bit in a moment. First, I'm going to pull up what they say about it. Where can you be? I just saw it. Here we go. I like this. Baba means loving father in Hindi and is a name or title assumed by many. That's it. It means loving father. Okay, so my connection to my higher power, again, this makes sense because my God is a God of love. Okay, so recent past. Does consciousness ring a bell? I love these cards. This would be the last year. In an annual reading, this particular position of the card placement is meant to be reflective of the last year. So, let's see what they say. Is this the one? No. Let's see here. Here we go. I'm going to show this to you one more time. This just, I love these. I love these cards and I love this deck. So, once again, if you're just joining me, this card reading is for the forecast for this coming year, and this particular card is in the placement of the recent past for the last year, and it is, does consciousness ring a bell? No, she honks a horn. In a reading, this card indicates a specific factor in your situation that will provide great clarity when you become aware of it. Also, the question is posed, does awareness in itself act? All right, so this last year, and actually the last couple years, because like I said before, it kind of, if you're like me, you kind of feel like, is 2019 over yet? It's been really weird. The pandemic has really put people in situations where they are reevaluating themselves and reprioritizing. They're waking up. At least some people are. One would hope everybody is. But they're waking up. They're realizing maybe what they thought was important before isn't as important as they thought it was. A lot more people are starting gardens. A lot of people are giving up on capitalism and just selling everything, buying a van or an RV and hitting the road. A lot of people are making big changes in their lives because they've decided that being happy while they are alive is more important than just surviving. I would say that falls under the category of consciousness. So let's look at hopes and fears for the coming year. The placement in this reading for hopes and fears, we got the card Heavy. And I think that if you're paying attention to the world and you actually care about people, it seems like a relevant card, because it's heavy. What's going on is heavy, and what is going to happen next? It's a scary thought. We need to be prepared somehow, but we don't know what we're being prepared for, right? We hope it's not going to be terrible. We'd like it to get better. I'm looking for what they say this card says. Heavy. I'm going to show you the card one more time in case you just joined. This card is Hopes and Fears of the Future. Heavy. A non-judgmental judgment on the energy of the events presently occurring. Alternatively, perhaps the card is indicating that the situation need not be taken so seriously. Well, there are some things that we do need to take really seriously. But when it comes to reprioritizing, maybe we're taking the wrong thing seriously. I know a lot of people don't want their freedoms trampled, and they want to be able to make their own decisions. What state I am from? I am currently living in Oklahoma. I was born in Alaska, and I grew up in California. But I've been in Oklahoma since 2010. God, heavy. Yeah. So, reprioritizing, and this is a perfect example with the pandemic, and a lot of people are like, their freedoms are being trampled. They don't want to be forced to wear a mask. They don't want to be forced to take a vaccine. They don't want to be forced. And so instead, they might be protesting it by not participating. Oh, well, I love Washington State. We left Alaska when I was 3 months old, so my dad was in boot camp, and then they started sending troops home from Vietnam, so they said, well, we don't need you in the army anymore, so they left. And I'm 47, so if that says anything. Anyway, I'm going to go back to this heavy card, because alternatively indicating this situation not be taken so seriously. So yeah, we all need our freedoms, but we all need our freedoms. We have the freedom to be compassionate. We have the freedom to do what's right. And just because a lot of people might be suggesting or trying to encourage us to make certain decisions doesn't make those decisions any less right. We still need to think for ourselves. I don't want to get into politics too much. I have really, really, really strong opinions about politics. But I don't want to alienate anyone, because I know that nobody wants to be forced or pushed to do something outside of their comfort zone. However, as a universalist, I believe that we all have value. We all have the right to our own self-dignity. And for the love of God, or whatever, please care about your neighbors. Care about the people around you. You know, I work part-time in a medical clinic. I'm usually only there on the weekends, doing database entry, management, bookkeeping, paperwork, filing, when there aren't any patients there, because I have really high anxiety, and I do live in Oklahoma, and there are a lot of people here that are firmly, devoutly refusing to wear masks. And I have health issues, and that terrifies me. So my anxiety got so high through the pandemic that I couldn't work during the week anymore around patients. I do still occasionally go in and cover for someone when they're on vacation or out sick. So I am around patients for a few days, and then I go home and recuperate from the stress that it put me through. And I am just blown away by the amount of people that just are more interested in defending their freedom than they are caring for their community. It's disheartening. However, you know, that we do still have patients that come in wearing masks, and you know, we had someone come in. I was covering over the Christmas break, someone that was out on vacation, and there was a situation when a patient came in, and they were wearing a mask, but they made it very vocal that they'd already been vaccinated. They were okay, and I said, that's fine. I have too. I got vaccinated to protect me. I wear a mask to protect you. And everybody got quiet. They don't like to hear that. But the science shows that the mask really doesn't keep you from getting it. It just keeps you from spreading it to other people. Anyway, I care about the people around me, even the people that don't like me. And that's a hard one to swallow. I pray for the people that are so frightened of the world changing that they're not willing to let go of their hatred of change. I stay away from them because I'm scared of them. I'm trans. If they knew I was trans, they'd probably pull their gun out or something. I don't know. I mean, it scares me. It really does. However, they're still human beings. And I still care about human beings. I'm glad you agree. Yay! It's nice to know I'm not alone. There is a lot of hate in the world, and that's why it's so important to integrate love into your actions every day, because we can't change people. They have to change themselves, and they won't change themselves until they're not afraid to do so. So we have to show them that it's safe. By being safe to be around, by showing love and compassion. It's very hard. All right, I go off on tangents. We still have our obstacle cards. So, these are potential obstacles. Now, obstacle doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing. It just means something that will be in your path. It could be a beautiful tree. It could be a broken down steam train that you have to go around. It could be anything, right? So potential obstacles for the coming year. We have, from here on in, it's nothing but a downhill run. So let's read this card. Potential obstacles. Things that might come across the path this year. Downhill run. Here's the downhill run card. Downhill run. Was it at the very beginning and I missed it? Downhill run. I am so needing new glasses. Downhill run. Downhill run. Where are you? Aha. There we go. Okay, to show the card again. Potential obstacle for the coming year. From here on in, it's nothing but a downhill run. It's a total coast from here to enlightenment and total liberation. Cut the strain and flow into what is. Buddha will watch over the situation. Okay? So that means that this year, trusting in faith, pay attention to your senses, go with the flow, and it will be okay. But you have to pay attention. Don't let ego interfere. If ego interferes, it causes problems, right? So, let's see. Next potential obstacle. I like this card. It is the whirling golden wheel. I'm going to show it to you again. This is all black and white, right? But it doesn't matter. The card is called the whirling golden wheel. This is the symbol of all that is constantly turning and cannot be understood. Awareness of the whirling golden wheel allows the rider to relax in spite of the inevitable friction. Okay, so what does that mean? When we're talking about an obstacle, a potential obstacle, it means that we may have a tumultuous year. There will be a lot happening. It's okay. It's going to keep happening. Don't stress out about it. Just learn how to roll with the punches. It's okay. Be flexible, and you will also keep moving forward. Another potential obstacle. Tee-hee-ha-ha. I love this card. Someone is laughing at you. Who is laughing? The answer is revealed by the other cards in the spread. Alright, so you need to have a sense of humor, right? Again, going back to being flexible. The coming year isn't going to be any easier than it has been in the past. We need to be flexible. Have a sense of humor. It will help you. Oh, this is a nasty card. This is one of the few cards in the deck that isn't a positive one. It is called Slimy Glob Rains. And I'm going to read it as soon as I find it. Slimy Glob. This card makes me think of, if you've ever heard Frank Zappa's Overnight Sensation album, there's a song where he talks about the slime oozing out of your TV set. And it's pretty funny. That card always makes me think of that Frank Zappa song. You will obey me when I feed you. All the garbage. Yeah. Slimy Glob Rains. Perhaps you need to clean up your act. This card has no redeeming features. This card is a card that this means there's something that needs to be improved. And if the saying for me, I have things I need to fix, that I need to deal with, that nobody else is going to deal with for me. If we're looking at this reading as an overall forecast for the year, it makes sense, especially if you live in America like I do. We have a lot of crap we need to clean up. And you can't fix the problems until you acknowledge what the problems are. So, Far Out. I like this card. This is a fun card. again, potential obstacles of the coming year. And I can see how things we need to clean up could be serious obstacles, because we tend to disagree on how to fix problems as a nation and as a community. We need to talk to each other and listen to each other, not create friction, so that we can actually fix these things. Far out. Let's look at this card. Far out. All right. What is happening has significance way beyond what you realize. The card expresses appreciation and approval of what you are doing. So, I'm going to read the last card, and then I'm going to talk about the whole thing one more time. The last card is the path. All right. Let's find this one. The path. The path. Here we go. The path begins in the middle and stretches out as far as the eye can see. Beyond the desert, into the mountains in the southeast. From there, it joins Interstate 10 and leaves it again about a quarter of a mile beyond the third rest stop. For those of us who have lost their way, it is possible to turn to the guidance of universal consciousness. In many traditions, the heart symbolizes intuition of spiritual realities and the center of the cosmic soul. Okay, so, as a recap, the heart of the matter is our collective unconscious. The opposing forces is love. We love each other so much that we're trying to protect ourselves from ourselves. Or maybe we love ourselves so much we're trying to protect ourselves from ourselves. The problem is sometimes that true love is unconditional. And we run into problems when we put conditions on love, right? I will love my child until they're gay. I will love my unborn child unless they're born gay. And then I'm going to put them through conversion therapy, right? But I'm doing it out of love. No. You're doing it out of fear. And you need to be able to tell the difference. That's just one example, but there are a lot of examples, right? It is very, yes, it makes sense, and it's also very confusing. So the trick is you've got to be able to let go of the conditions, right? Because there are no mistakes. Everything happens for a reason. We might not like the reason. We might not understand the reason. The reason might be a really terrible reason, like COVID spread really fast because we didn't do what we needed to do to stop it in time. Maybe, recognizing the reason means that you have to own up to your stuff, right? And we have been learning so much. We have been gaining so much consciousness. We've been reevaluating what's important, right? And there is so much love in this world, whether you believe it comes from God, whether you believe it comes from your family, whether you believe it comes from your neighbor, or whether you don't know how to feel it yet. There is so much love in this world. We can actually get through it. It is really heavy and scary. And if we don't do it right, we create friction. But if we let go of the fear and don't fight the friction, it's just a downhill run. We will keep moving forward. You've got to be flexible. Keep moving forward. Don't worry if they're laughing at you, because if you can hold on to your sense of humor, you'll be laughing too. And it's really great medicine. You have to own up to your shit. You have to recognize your shortcomings. And you have to be willing to make changes to make yourself a better person so that you can be better support for your community. The path to our freedom is through love. And we have to have compassion for each other. If we do it that way, we're doing it right. So that is my perspective card reading for the coming year. And I hope you guys liked it. Thanks, Kimberly, for sticking with me through the whole thing. Like, you've been here through the whole thing. And that's really cool. And if you like the way my brain works, really, really check out my website. It's abstractperspectives.weebly.com. There's some of my artwork there. There's some of my writing there. There's links to my books. And, that you maybe you'll enjoy them if you like the way my brain works. Thank you for checking that out. And also, like, anybody that checks out my books, if you do buy my book and you read it, please go online to any place online. I don't care. Google book reviews, Barnes & Noble, the place you bought it from. I don't care. Write a review and post it, please. Because if people start writing reviews and posting the reviews to the books, it makes it easier for other people to find the books. And, I don't come on here asking for money. That's not what I'm doing with the TikTok. I mean, we all need help. And of course, I'm, starving artist, whatever. Yes, I need the help. But what I want to do is sell my art in books, because then I'm generating revenue with them, and I can do it without having to put myself in a room full of people that might kill me with their germs. I've never been a germaphobe before this, but it really scares me how many people are not wearing masks out there. So, I mean, I want to, I always wear a mask when I go out in public, and I try to make a point of thanking people when I see them wearing a mask, like at work. I thank them. And I want to make a difference, and I want to make a living. Absolutely. We all want to make a difference, and we all want to earn a living, right? It sucks that we have to struggle the way that we do, but anyway, I'm probably gonna go off of here soon, because I don't want to just ramble for no reason. Unless you guys have questions for me, I would love to answer some questions. I'm putting my little cards away. Oh, here's a frog. I carry this frog with me in my bag that I carry my cards in. This little wooden frog has traveled with me all over the country since I was 15. So I'm 47 now, 32 years. All right, have a great day at work, Kimberly. Thanks for watching. All right, I am, hi, April, you just joined, and I've already done the card reading. I'm sorry that you missed it, but maybe next time. I don't know how to, yeah, I love my little frog. Good luck. It's a nice good luck charm. I wish I knew how to. I don't think you can watch the lives after they're not live anymore, can you? But anyway, I did a card reading that was the forecast for the coming year, and basically it boils down to, it's okay. We're all kind of terrified, but we have to keep pushing forward. We have to have a sense of humor, and we have to be kind to one another, because that's how we're going to get through the changes and the tumult that the coming year is going to bring us. And that was about it. So thanks everybody for joining in, and I'm going to say goodbye for now, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Thanks. Bye. Oh, well, I'm trying to say goodbye, but that's how you flip the camera. Oh, well, that's pretty awesome. All right. Bye-bye.